Welcome to the Midlife Pilot Podcast. We are glad you're with us. What is it like to become a pilot in your 40s and 50s? The challenges are unique for those of us in midlife, but so are the rewards. Hosts Ben, Brian, and Ted talk learning to fly, growing as pilots, and the joy of flying to destinations. The purpose of the podcast is not to teach, but to share knowledge and experiences of being a midlife pilot. Join the Midlife Pilot community and listen in every week. We are not CFIs or particularly intelligent, so if you want to learn how to fly, talk to anyone else other than the hosts of a podcast. Even this intro was too challenging for us, and we used a robot to do it. Okay, checklists are complete. Let's get the show started.
Hello and welcome to episode 151 of the Midlife Pilot Podcast, where we share the experiences and challenges of flying in midlife. This episode is going to be listener feedback driven. Tonight's topic, we're calling it the second chances at 46. Our listener, Chris T., battles with motion sickness, scheduling, and family legacy. With me tonight, as always, is our friends Brian in Nashville and Ted in Portland. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Nice I guess I should
here.
say at some point in time, my name is Ben, and I'm in Atlanta. I guess because there could be new listeners, maybe. I don't know. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Good. And Ted, just glad to see you're hanging on over there. So it's good. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's quite the place that we all live, isn't it? But today, not only has the weather been off, but the internet weather has been off. So
Yeah.
We're glad to be here.
This stream could self-destruct at any moment.
Yeah.
So let's just make funny faces the whole way through. So that way, if it does die, we go out with funny faces.
Didn't I just see that Jeff Bezos just pulled an engine off of the ocean floor of one of the Apollo missions or whatever? It's like,
And he did that a million years ago. Did he do another one?
I think maybe he got the other engine.
Yeah.
But it's just, hey man, your servers are down. Check that out.
Yeah.
But Ben, you've been going pretty hard. But I'll tell the folks first.
Yeah.
I had one of my favorite things about flying. Obviously, we all enjoy flying other people around and sharing aviation with people. A slightly unique twist on that I got to experience the other day was that I have a former colleague and friend that I hadn't seen in about 6 or 7 years, living down in near Huntsville, Alabama. And so I just thought, hey man, we need to get together. I'm going to fly down there. We're going to go fly somewhere for lunch, and then I'll take you back and we'll do that. And he's been in Alabama for a little bit. Circumstances brought him there that were not his bidding. So he has a kind of maybe a little bit of a negative outlook on where he is. He doesn't really like the area very much. And he says they've been kind of just more insular and staying in. And so I was able to go down there and say, hey man, one of my favorite things about aviation is it has illuminated to me the magic of Alabama. There's so many cool places in Alabama. And so I took him around and he got to see, I took him over. We did a touch and go at Gunnersville, Ben.
Yep.
Went to Coleman, went around. So point is just, he was sort of unaware of how beautiful all the terrain, the terrain and varied nature of it. I mean, Gunnersville is a strange little water oasis in the middle of Alabama, one of the only seaplane runways for hundreds of miles anywhere near this part of the country. So just a really cool thing. So I did some fun flying, and it's really nice to just go to where somebody is and say, no, let me show you how beautiful where you live actually is. And got to fly over the rockets and all that stuff that they have at Huntsville. And so it's just neat to fly by and see rockets pointed up at you. But don't
worry about that restricted airspace that's over there. I'm sure.
Is that what the R meant?
That's what the R meant.
Oh,
I thought it was recommended. Yeah.
When those F-16s pulled up next to you, that was meant that it wasn't an air show for yourself. It was
Yeah, and for those that are listening and keeping track, even restricted airspace, you can get cleared through. Talk to somebody, make sure you're on flight following. That airspace we got cleared through because we were already at 3,500, and even though by designation it goes much higher than that, the activity that they had going on, I guess all the artillery or whatever, they had it really carefully aimed to be 500 feet below us, so we were fine.
Nice. I had one of those weekends. I'm a little short of calling it perfect, but it entailed every single, like my favorite things. Woke up, and I'm going to include Friday and today, but Friday morning, woke up, had a great multi-lesson, worked on pattern work and did some short field ops. We also did single engine work, and my landings are getting to where they need to be. Need to work on the short field stuff. That's fun to do. And the single engine landings are also, fun.
I have a quick question for you before you carry on.
Hey.
Does it really matter how good your landings are in terms of the rating? Of course you want to have good landings. You want to do it right. You want to fly the plane.
No, don't bend the airplane and get it down on the ground and not kill anybody. Yeah.
Well, if you're just really good at the procedures and have all the knowledge and everything, is it possible to get that rating and this?
Yes.
And then the examiner just be like, I don't know how you land a plane, but you passed.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think there are any criteria that have to be met. I think the plane has to be operational when you're done.
Sure.
Right.
I'm guessing so.
Safety of flight. Yeah.
Right. So great day on Friday. Woke up early Saturday morning and got to go do some fly fishing in North Georgia. A very long day, but very awesome. The weather was great. We were kind of doing some trailblazing, getting into some of these really remote backcountry creeks, and did a lot of wading. Didn't catch anything really, but it was a lot of fun. And then woke up Sunday morning and played in a charity golf tournament. I came in second in that. That was a lot of fun. Where hit the ball well, and then played in a second Pro-Am tournament today.
Jeez.
So I typically play around 4 rounds of golf a year, and I played twice in the last 24 hours. So, but it was, I love golf, I love fly fishing, and I love flying. So I got to do all 3 in the last 3 days.
This was like your Make-A-Wish weekend.
And I forgot probably the biggest thing of all. I got to do this now. This is kind of embarrassing, maybe not, but took Terry to our favorite restaurant Saturday night for our 28th anniversary.
All right.
Oh, happy anniversary!
That. That's great.
Yeah.
Congrats to her for putting up with me for 28 years. So it was a great weekend. I am completely and totally exhausted because I was moving from one activity to the next throughout the entire weekend, and I haven't stopped until we got to this podcast. So,
what's funny is in the back of my mind, I just thought Ben is very busy right now, but I didn't realize that you were busy enjoying yourself. So I'm glad to hear that.
There won't be much busy work. It'll be busy work from here on out, and it won't be fun. So I got it all out of my system. So we're good. But yeah, it was a great weekend. What
rating does Terry get? After 28 years, what is that?
Angel.
Yeah.
Halo. Listen, y'all know me. Her put up with me for 28 years.
What would you say is what's the secret, Ben?
Laugh. If you can make each other laugh, then I think that's a big part of it.
All right. And so do you have any good bits that you rely on to keep it all together?
You know what? What's funny? We have, so I'll give you one really good one. 28 years. Terry has uttered these words in this specific order after a comment I made. The words are, "You are right." She has said that twice in our 28-year marriage. And it's now a thing. It's always been a thing. But it slipped on Saturday night while we were at the restaurant. And I pushed my chair up from the table. I'm walking around the restaurant like it happened. I just tried to make a big deal out of it as I could. It's stuff like that.
Somebody pulled the confetti switch.
when she says, I'm going upstairs to take a shower, we all go, P-U, I mean, it's just playing around, giving each other a hard time. So,
I like it.
So it's been great. So, Ted, you've been up and around a little bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I did something really special yesterday. My first special VFR. So, I talked about doing it once in the past and got together a panel of experts to see if that was a good idea or not. That was a couple of years ago. And the field, I'm at a Delta, and half of the field is basically covered in fog, and everything, the runway and south wasn't. So they were reporting ceilings of 300. And it's like, yeah, but not really. So, I got up to the line and I said, hey, do you do special VFR? He's like, yep. So it was interesting because there was a couple of helicopters buzzing around, and it had to wait until they landed, so they weren't moving. And then I took off and report when you're clear of the Delta before anybody else could move. So it's like, no wonder it's a big deal. You get the entire Delta. And he was like, turn out whichever way you want. So, yeah.
Can you for our listeners, maybe elaborate on what special VFR is? Because there may not, it's not often used. So
it's not just a VFR clearance where they talk more slowly to you.
Yeah, exactly. So special VFR lets you take off without any regard to cloud clearance other than you're not in the cloud. So please don't have your wing touch the cloud. Otherwise, you're good to go. So where it's really helpful is when you've got one giant cloud or one fog bank over part of the runway, and everything else is clear, and you're 100% confident in that. And I was. I waited a little while to see if it would improve, and it just was kind of sticking there. So I'm glad I did it. That was really fun.
We could have used that when Brian, when we were going to Music City, when we were getting to relieve John Toon. We could have done that special VFR because it was off the runway. It was south, I guess southwest of the airport, and we were heading north. So
that's what I was going to ask you, Ted. Is were you going towards the layer or away from it?
Oh no, I mean I was. Let's see. I was going to basically go parallel along it, but it only existed in that small area. So as long as I didn't take off and go north, I was fine. And so I took off and I circled to the south and I went east. And so it was really cool. And you could actually kind of see, there was a shelf that you could get above it even. And by the time you hit 1,000 feet. So it was very interesting to do.
That's awesome.
I didn't know if I'd be able to because our Delta is very constrained by the arrival traffic. So normally you can't climb past 1,200 feet anywhere in the Delta, basically, because the arrivals are right overhead. So I didn't know if they'd be able to do it without canceling or pausing PDX's traffic. And so obviously they could, and otherwise they wouldn't let me out if they had to make everybody else wait. So yeah, it was fun. But yeah, the weather yesterday was really all over the place. And I came back and realized that I was flying into 50-knot winds at one point. And so what do you have to do when that happens? Put your flaps out, slow down, see if you can hit zero. And I pretty much hit zero. The plane was drifting to the side, so the A-to-B track makes it look like I'm doing about 2 knots. But I stayed there in roughly one position for 5 to 8 minutes. And so that was a fun experience. The other thing that I did this week, it was really tough because it's middle of the workday, but I went and got really good pizza from one of the places in town, and I took it to a friend up at the Tracon. And our ATC is working because they have to. As we've heard from opposing bases, if you don't show up, the police will show up at your door. So it's required to work, but they're not necessarily being paid right now. Just getting an IOU, they will be getting paid back. So of all times to show some love to your traffic controllers, whether it's tower or Tracon, center, whoever's near you, this is a great time to do it. And you've got some more on that, Brian?
Well, yeah. So perfect segue because yes, in our events and announcements today, we're celebrating International Day of the Controller this October 20th, 2025. Is that right? That's the correct date.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is
today.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and if you're hearing this before or after, just roll with it. So, absolutely.
Wait a minute. If you're hearing this before right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
I don't have any
you
bias
understand this.
towards where you sit in time, Ted. So maybe you just need to think
Sorry. Yeah.
about, how you look at people that are in the before. Okay.
I don't even know what that means.
You're living in the past, man. No. So International Day of the Controller, we've had some awesome reminders and ways of celebrating that, not only by you, Ted, and others. I just want to mention a few in our Discord real quick, if that's all right with you fellas.
That'd be awesome.
So if you're not familiar with International Day of the Controller, it's celebrated on October 20th to recognize the vital work of air traffic controllers who ensure the safety and efficiency of global airspace. If you've never talked to them before, you probably should. Banjo Pilot posted a great picture of him with a giant thing of donuts outside of his facility, his neighborly facility. $15 in donuts and a thank you go a long way for the people we rely on and keep us safe in the air, is what he said. So pretty awesome. Ted, were you saying something?
I'm going to get to, and then I'd forgotten to say something, but Badger Pilot said he dropped off donuts to an up-down, which is awesome. He said he hung around for an hour and a half chatting and watching him work. That's always a great thing to do. And Mike Alpha Golf, one of our favorites, said his cap squadron out of New Orleans organized pizza to the tower, the MSY down, the Bravo up-down, and Houston Center. He said, and yesterday we sent $500 worth of pizzas to TSA at the Bravo. They're doing it right. They make sure everybody gets love. When I went in, I was like, if I come and drop this off, I want to sit in and see if that was okay. And so I sat in on kind of one session in this guy's shift, and so I set the scopes for about 40 minutes and watched all the planes. Watched him bring in a lot of planes, including 3 pairs of F-15s that were doing overhead brakes.
Cool.
Right amongst all the commercial traffic. So they were just sequenced like everyone else was. And so I got to ask all the questions and see how do they see us and what is it about, the things they don't like and what shows up on the tags, and how they just kind of designate things and use that final notes line on the scope. So it was a great experience.
That's cool.
And heard him try and call out to somebody in the blind just to see if they were kind of in the way, but I mean they were legal and everything else, but if they were there, he would have been very happy to hear about it. So
hey, by the way, Ben, before you get into the next thing, I just want to say, you mentioned Ted, you mentioned that Badger Pilot was saying, they let me hang out for an hour and a half just chatting and watching them work. I had to sort of, the last time I went to do a tower visit, I definitely was there for a while, and I kind of just kept wondering if it was sort of like company that won't leave. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, guys, this is just, this is great. They're like, they're so glad you're here. It's great that pilots are interested. We love to answer all of your questions. Yeah. So while I'm sure in his situation, it was totally kosher and good. Maybe one thing that, at least here in Nashville, B&A is way stretched. Be advised that if you send $500 worth of pizzas, it doesn't mean that they have an obligation to entertain you for a couple of hours. So just on the counterpoint to all that, please do something great for your fellow controllers with no strings attached. And if you do get a visit, enjoy the visit. Just read the room, just like you do when you're on the radio.
That's right. And a quick thing to point out, I did check with my friend that is the manager of the tower at my home airport, McCollum, Romeo Yankee. It is a contract tower. And I'm assuming this applies to all contract towers, but they are actually still getting paid. And it will continue that way unless the government shutdown runs through the end of their contract period. If their contract period ends and it's still going to shutdown, then they will stop getting paid. Now, I think his contract ends in February, so let's all pray that the shutdown won't be going that long. I don't think it will.
And once again, thanks to everyone for keeping this a politics-free zone. That is one of our primary missions here at the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Is the reason why it's so great is because it is a respite from all of that. So thanks for the chat, keeping it cool, and everybody in Discord and everybody. It's awesome. Really appreciate it.
Yep. We also
can intrude on that without us getting into some of the issues about it. But the reality of it is you've got some controllers that aren't being paid today.
Right.
And I'm sure the contract guys would love to get donuts as well. Just saying. Yep.
Absolutely. Wanted to mention to everybody that we have been trying to work with the folks at Tango 82 in Fredericksburg, Gillespie County Airport. And it's not looking too good out there. Brian, I know you've been going back and forth with them, but I guess, we were there last year and now it seems like every group on the planet wants to have a meetup there.
There's a contingency plan. If we all just get together and buy a bunch of King Airs, we can just piggyback on the King Air event that they're having.
Oh, okay.
So that's one plan that I thought of, but no, they're super stacked up, which is fine. It may still work out, but we are definitely looking at some other things. Ben, do you want to tell the fine people in the chat what we've been looking at?
Absolutely. So we're looking at Thaden Field, which is in Bentonville, Arkansas. Well, it has a lot of appealing qualities to it. It is rich with Airbnbs and hotels, and I believe there's a restaurant on the field, and it's a Delta, I believe.
No, it is uncontrolled, and but it's in the service area of the Charlie. It is one of the least busy Charlies in the nation.
And the reason it's a Charlie is because the other airport basically serves, for those of you who don't know, Bentonville is the home headquarters for Walmart.
I'm saying the main airport is a Charlie. This one is
I understand.
Uncontrolled. Okay. Yeah.
No, I understand. And the reason that's a Charlie is because of the headquarters of Walmart.
We're talking about Victor Bravo Tango, by the way.
Right.
VBT, Victor Bravo Tango.
Right. And you can fly there commercially to X-Ray November Alpha. Believe that's the ICAO code for the airport.
It sounds about right.
Northwest Arkansas Regional, I believe it's what it's called. So
yes.
And also a special shout out to our friend and supporter Sue and some others who actually brought this location to mind. And so if you have something on your mind, now's the time, because we're going to nail this down in the next. We got to figure this out in the next couple of weeks here, I think, so that people can make all the plans that they need to make. I'll tell you this, though, guys. I'll tell you this.
Go ahead.
Fly Oz is based there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not familiar with Fly Oz, go to flyoz.com. But they do all the backcountry excursions and all of that. There is a grass strip at Thaden Field, which is awesome. So Ted, bring some extra wheel pants or whatever you got to do.
I've been there, right?
Oh, you have?
It was miserably wet, so I didn't use the grass runway, and I also didn't go to all the Fly Oz runways, which I wanted to go back and do. But the weather was so bad. It was actually my long trip coming back from Tango 82 last year. But yeah, I spent a night there. And Bentonville has a lot of things going for it. It's a cool runway. The FBO is amazing. It's very kind of oriented at us. Like it's nice, but it's not aimed at like the jet crowd.
So by us, you mean the GA crowd and not the Midlife Pilot Podcast crowd.
The knuckle draggers. Yeah. So it's a very beautiful facility. And Bentonville itself is really cool. There are things to do there that I was very surprised about. It's a big mountain biking capital. there is a fantastic art museum that is free, thanks to the Waltons. I mean, it's a huge art museum, and it's located in this park, kind of it's like a canyon, and there's public art outside of it, so you can go on hikes and walk for hours through all this art, even outside. They have a Frank Lloyd Wright house on the field, and there are James Beard award-winning chefs in town. So it's a place that has a lot going for it, and one of the nice coffee shops that I've been to outside of Portland. So there are more things going for it. The aviation is great. The town has some cool things going for it too.
Well, and by the way, one of my bucket list flights, either coming in and out of there or maybe on the Saturday excursion day, is to go to John Harris, which is Alfa Romeo 05, 2,500 foot runway grass that just launches you off of a ridge. And it just looks so cool. You can go to flyhouse.com/John-Harris and check it out. It's so good. So anyway, I'm kind of stoked on this whole idea. I feel like also a lot of our friends to the north will be able to attend that otherwise Texas might be too far. So maybe this is looking closer. And Ted, you kind of just really pretty much closed it for me. So let's maybe start to close this thing.
I think that we won't be staying on the field, so we won't have that Tango 82 experience. Although I think you could camp there because I have like canoes in the pond and stuff. But for the rest of us, we'll be in hotels or Airbnbs and that kind of thing.
Awesome.
We're hoping to secure an Airbnb and treat it more like as a home base for everybody to kind of hang out and chill. So we'll see how that plays out. But Brian, you want to tackle some housekeeping, and then we can get into our feedback.
Yes. So housekeeping, Belly Scrub. We are able to keep this podcast ad-free because of all of the support we get from Patreon. So thank you, all patrons, for continuing to support us. And that means as much as anything. Join our Patreon community. You get Discord access, lots of exclusive content. Don't forget, we have all the check ride debriefs. One Dull Geek has lined up a massive amount of check ride debriefs and other interesting content on our Patreon. So 10% supports Freedom Aviation Network's anti-human trafficking efforts. You can go to their website and sign up to be a pilot or a volunteer. And for everything Midlife Pilot Podcast, feedback, merch, and more, visit midlifepilotpodcast.com. And now that we've been directing everybody to just go to the website, it seems like it's working out well. People are able to figure out where the shirts and the hats are, and the coffee cups and the whatever. And people are also able to figure out, how to easily send us a message. And there's a lot of other stuff there too. So midlifepilotpodcast.com. And what the cool thing too is that, for instance, this episode is completely feedback driven. So we like doing that.
Sounds great. I want to hit this comment from Mr. EZG. He's asking when for the fly-in. And that's yet to be determined, but we're looking at sometime between mid-March and late March. But there'll be more to come on that in the future. So we'll have some more details coming to you. So tonight's podcast, or tonight's topic, it is a podcast, but tonight's topic is from our listener, Christopher T. And he writes, first, I wanted to thank you guys for putting together the podcast. I found it probably 2 months ago and have been binge listening to it while driving. I've wanted to pursue my PPL since I was a kid. He's now 46. For me, it's beyond the normal desire to just be able to fly wherever, whenever, and wherever you please. Although that does sound amazing. It's a desire that goes back a couple of generations to my grandfather. He was a World War II pilot and radio man and ultimately ended up on a B-29 that was stationed in Tinian with the Enola Gay. Wow. Before he passed away a couple of years ago at 100 years old, he would always tell us stories about the war, kamikaze pilots, and so many other things. He loved flying. About 25 years ago, I told him I wanted to learn how to fly. Since no one else in the family was an aviator, he was excited for me and bought me a book on learning to fly. I read it cover to cover, took a discovery flight, and loved it until motion sickness kicked me in the teeth. And I never, continues, I never splashed my Merlot, as they say, but miserable the rest of the day. We'll have more on that in a little bit. He said, so I quickly came to the conclusion that I just couldn't do it. So he continues, fast forward, and now I'm midlife with an amazing wife and 4 kids, ages 6 to 19. And your podcast has given me the bug again, and pretty bad. For that, we're sorry, or you're welcome. I'm not sure. The old saying rings true that when you're young, you have no money and lots of time, but when you get older, you have less time and more money. Truth be told, I run my own company, so I can work out flying during working hours, which is great. So now I have the bug worse than ever before. I've been blessed in life to have the means to pursue this, but family life with 4 kids is busy, and there's the darn fear of getting motion sickness. If you were in my shoes, and maybe you were, what would you recommend? Is there a rule of thumb that some people just can't get used to the motion? For a busy midlifer, what kind of training schedule is reasonable? Do you know any CFIs in Atlanta, maybe at PDK, that you might recommend or that you would know would have some understanding of us midlifers? The issue is, I don't know what realistic looks like starting at this point. When I took my discovery flight, there was a kid in the right seat. I mean, CFI. He wrote that, I didn't say that. And there's not a chance someone like that would understand the scheduling changes or even motion sickness issues some might face. I've read that motion sickness is just something you get over as you fly more, but I have no idea if that's true or not. Anyways, apologies for the rambling. I appreciate you guys, what you guys do, and for any insight you might have to offer, and certainly for allowing some of us to live vicariously through you. Thanks, Chris T. So,
it's a lot to unpack there.
That is a lot to unpack there. And let's just go ahead and start pulling away from it. First of all, it is a treasure to have had a grandfather that did what he did and would tell stories about it. That's something that you can carry on to your kids and their kids, hopefully, because that is really cool. And I love that you're wanting to do that.
There's also the flip side of the legacy in aviation, where this war hero bestows upon you, a book, and sort of last wish. Nobody else is in the family is an aviator, he said, and here it is for this torch for you to carry, and you're running a business and raising a family, and
here's this torch, you're cramming it into your hand, and good luck carrying it.
It's like, okay, I'd love to talk more about kamikaze pilots. I'm just trying to find a free Friday.
Right.
So that's a lot, but I mean, it is cool though. I mean, and honestly, that's what a great motivator ultimately.
Right.
Yeah. Ted, do you have aviators in your family?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. Yeah. I've got, so my mom's dad would go to Reno air races every year. He flew, despite a welding incident. So he had he was monocular vision and had to get a flight test to be able to fly. So flew for a long time. My mom's mom was married 3 times, and each one of them was into aviation. So they always enjoyed hanging out, talking aviation when they got together. It goes back in a lot of different places in the family, but I think that's true with a lot of us, where it exists somewhere in there. It may have skipped generations. It may be offset by an uncle or something like that. But I think a lot of us have a similar story of that. It took me a while to get into it, but I always thought about Uncle George or Grandpa Bob who flew and would talk about it, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like it takes a while for it to stick, but we've all thought about that. I know you've got that case, Brian. Ben, do you have that case?
Nobody, to my knowledge, were pilots.
Wow.
In our bloodline, my brother-in-law we married into the pilot piece of it. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm the first aviator. So, and I hope to, like you say, inspire that. And I want to ask our listeners out there that are listening to this and to our chat, tell us your legacy stories, or do you have members of your family, current or past members that were pilots? Did they fight in the war, or just general aviators, or anything in between?
Yeah, I think it's interesting too how even if you don't have that direct lineage, I think a lot of us in aviation feel and are in effect some tangential part of it. And I'm working on a video piece right now about the S&J4 and my experience flying in that and taking the stick for a while and all that. And it's impossible to not, especially when you're flying vintage warbird aircraft, to not feel like you're part of some continuum, albeit not nearly as significant, but maybe just in a different role. But yeah, Mike Alpha Golf has some words, huh?
Yeah. Our doctor friend Mike Alpha Golf is dipping in with some links or some references that I'll put in the show notes. But he's a big fan of evidence-based medicine, and I'll quote from this article that he brings up, which is, habituation remains the most effective non-pharmacological method to reduce motion sickness. The problem with and this is me, the problem with using chemicals to fix your motion sickness is they're usually drowsy. They're not allowed by the FAA, and they shouldn't be. So the point there, to put it in simpler words, is generally you'll get through it.
Let's tackle the motion sickness part of this, and obviously Mike Alpha Golf is on it for us.
Yeah,
we're so glad we're not doctors.
So
yes.
I would like to start off by saying to anybody out there, I have been flying for 7-8 years, and the first time I got into the L39 and we did 2 barrel rolls, I was feeling it. We had to stop. Now, I know that was more aerobatic, but my point is everybody at some point in time is going to be susceptible to some motion sickness. And I absolutely agree. When we first got the Beast, I would go up with Stuart because I hadn't yet passed my PPL, obviously. And he would do 60-degree banks, and I would feel it. Not almost to the point he was saying I would be a little woozy, but I had the same thought that if I'm getting woozy doing this, and am I going to be able to be a pilot? As soon as I got in the left seat and started doing it myself, it really was not. It was a non-event. So I agree with Mr. Gillette, or Dr. Gillette, I should say. Just keep going up and doing it. You're probably going to be fine the next time up.
And Jeff R in the comments also says that he gets motion sickness when the CFI has the controls, but when he has the controls, he doesn't get the motion sickness. It's not because I'm a better pilot. It's because my stomach gets warned about what my hands are doing. Completely true. Flying it and looking outside seem to be big issues. If you're looking at the instrument panel, if you're not the one flying, it's a lot worse. So
I've only had one passenger ever get motion sickness at all, and luckily he was in the right seat. And I just said, "You're flying the plane now," and he was fine. It cleared him right up. There is something about, I think maybe there's, I don't know, Mike Alpha Golf can confirm this, but I feel like there's some other, also, as much as there's physiological things going on, I think there's psychological preconditionings, kind of the lack of control and perhaps the undercurrent of anxiety that then sets the stage for the other things to happen, the physiological things to happen more easily, perhaps. I don't know.
Novel environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Or they just want attention.
Well, I don't know, but I've had 2 passengers throw up in my airplane, so I don't think it was. They certainly got my attention if that's what they were looking for.
Wasn't one of those your son?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and the other was an Angel Flight. I remember that one.
No, it actually wasn't.
Have 6? Oh, okay.
It wasn't actually, but that
do you have 6
they were
acts in the
getting
plane?
queasy, but they didn't throw up on the Angel Flight. The other one was a friend of mine. So yeah. What I also kind of wanted to move on to the next topic too. He mentions about training schedules for busy adults. We've said it before, and I think most people agree you need to be able to fly 2 to 3 times a week. If you could schedule more than that during the week, even better. But knowing that you're going to have the plane's going to be down for maintenance, you're going to have a bad weather day, there's going to be all these things. And I'm living proof of that now. The problem is, the plane was in 100-hour inspection for longer. We had bad weather. So I went 2 weeks off, and then I spent the next week, the next lesson, following that, I was, spent half the lesson relearning what I had forgotten. So. Yeah.
That relearning is a big deal. It early on, that distance between your flights being more than a week, especially is a big deal. If it's been 3 weeks, man, enjoy learning all the things you did last month.
And here's something interesting go ahead. Sorry.
I think you needed to read a post from Mr. Ballard to us, Ben.
I will, but I do want to make one other comment, because when I knew that I was going to be offered time, I was like, I'm going to chair fly this. I'm going to go through my flows. I'm going to be so fresh when I get back there. I'm not going to have forgotten anything. The problem with that is that I went through my flows in the plane, but I didn't actually take action. So you're supposed to push the mixtures forward. You're supposed to push the props forward. Well, I put my hand on the props. I just didn't push them forward. And she goes, you've been chair flying too much. You actually have to do the action. It was pretty funny. My friend, well, I think he's my friend. I'm not really sure after this comment.
Former friend.
Said, Mr. Ballard says, Ben's landings make me sick. Not when we fly together, but when I am just watching them from the ramp.
It's another form of motion sickness that's a little bit more disconnected from the actual experience, but still by mere observation.
I love, that's one of the longest running jokes of our podcast is Ben's landings, as if they were bad. And
Well, one other thing I wanted to say about the training schedule thing too is that for us busy midlife type of people, and building on what you said, Ben, which is 1,000% true, fly more often. Plan on one of those getting canceled every week for something. So do one or get at least 1 or 2 in every week. If you're just kind of anxious to get started doing and get your training done, but you have a lot of, I don't know, like you're coming up towards the end of a quarter or whatever your work related things might be, or family things, slow could be fast in your case. It might be best to delay for 2 months so that you can really block out the time to make the most of it, and you'll actually get it done faster. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know what your industry is or what you do for a living, but some people's jobs are cyclical and there are busier times in the years than the others. So if you can hold off into a slower time of the year for you, if such a thing exists, but absolutely wait until then, you'll be better off for it.
Well, you can also be very smart about how you combine the things, which is you're going to need to sit through a ground school. You're going to need to do the written. You're going to need to fly. You may not be able to fly. You can do those other things. And
that's right.
I definitely remember doing that sitting on the couch. It's like the weather isn't good. I'd rather be flying, but here we are. Let me watch my ground school and learn this stuff. So I think that's the other way that we kind of make sure to be very smart about the time that you've got or the lack of time you have.
Nice. The next point that he brings up is finding the right CFI match. And I mean, I think we could almost make this a topic in and of itself. I do feel like as a midlifer, you kind of want to find somebody that understands midlife. Now, I want to be clear, though. My first instrument instructor was still in college, and he kept calling me sir and mister, and which is fine. He was an excellent instrument instructor. He was great. But I feel like there was some trepidation of telling me, being more forceful with what I needed to do different, that he was being super nice about it. And there was this, I guess, hierarchical level there that maybe he felt a little uncomfortable with. It also could have been that I was his first instrument student too. I don't know. But I do feel like there is something to be said for having an instructor that is not building time and that is going to be around for a while and has some experience and can understand, the trials and tribulations of a midlifer.
I mean, midlifers are different, but I think don't rule out time builders or people who are younger than you just for that reason.
Right.
You may find that you're a good fit with that. But I think one of the things that's very common that you don't understand until it's too late is it's your choice who your CFI is and changing your CFI. We've got a Mr. Dull Geek who spent 100 hours with a CFI that wasn't great and should have switched a lot earlier and wouldn't have spent more than 100 hours getting his private. Just as a one example, you have a choice, and go seek out CFIs, see who clicks with you and who's motivated and who can set up a schedule that works well for you.
Yeah, the last thing I'll add is that in my experience, what I believe most of us midlife pilots have is a professional acumen in the way that we go about project management or overseeing tasks or managing productions, or I don't know. We have some kind of experience that guides us from an organizational basis. And so when I got started with the CFI that I was, assigned essentially in the flight school, I just happened to be his first student at that flight school. So I was his first student there. He'd had students prior at the other place before, I guess before his witness relocation or whatever he's doing. But he and I got together, and I was able to tell him right away, I want a syllabus. Let's go ahead. I want a common syllabus. I want to know exactly what must be achieved per lesson. And then afterwards, I want to know if those things were achieved or not, or what things still need to be carried over to the next. And I explained to him, but I don't have the budget or the time to just kind of go see what's up for the day, and I think that I'm not saying all young pilots maybe or young CFIs are like this, but I would say perhaps it's fair to say they're just lesser experienced in life and managing stringent project guidelines and constraints. And that was something that, at least from the, not being in a 141 situation, you kind of have to run your own game. And so, I would say, exercise your midlife skills to manage your own training is really what it kind of comes down to. And to do it, if you've got all this, Chris has teased talking about successful businesses and all this. So, that didn't happen by just kind of fooling around, right? Apply those same techniques and that same acumen to your training and plan it and make sure that you are aligned to this. Don't trust the CFI or bank on the CFI to guide you along and keep all the accountability in place.
Mr. Easy G in the comments said, as a veteran, I've found that I learn better from a CFI that is also a vet. It's about a level of assertiveness. I've been involved in a safety organization that had a lot of, strangely, pilots and vets, and you can always tell where they came from based on that. And if you have this past experience of learning in a certain style, keep with that style. It works for you, but you may not be able to figure that out. A lot of us, it's been so long since we've been in a formal school environment. Who knows what's going to work best for you? So yeah.
Yeah, totally get that. Also, I think, Brian's messing me up with our show notes. He's, what I was going to say is we want to hear from our listeners. Send in us feedback. Tell us how you've gotten over motion sickness. Tell us about any CFI insights that you may have, any other tips when learning. We value your feedback. We'll try to get it on the next podcast. We can help our friend Christopher out here and provide some more insight. I will be, actually, we've been trading texts. I'm actually going to try to have lunch with them next week. And I think we're going to call out this airport, but I believe this exists everywhere. So Peachtree DeKalb Airport is a fantastic airport, but it's the whatever busiest, fifth busiest on the East Coast, or, it's crazy busy. It's one of those not risk sword, it's a double-edged sword. If you can fly out of that airport, you can fly out of anywhere. So if you learn there, you're going to be a step ahead of the game. But in the same breath, you're going to be sitting hold short for a long time. And so you're going to be spending more time and therefore, more money sitting on the ground. So it's kind of it's a two-way street. You can also go to Winder, Georgia, where there's non-towered, and get, half the time on the ramp than you're at PDK, but you're not gaining that same level of experience. So that's one of the things that you really
you're scared. You're scared to talk on the radio when you do that, right? It's the double-edged sword of that. Is PDK where a French pilot in Georgia is based?
He's at Fulton County, and it's also a Delta, but it's not. It just doesn't have the traffic. Now, I will say currently there are 2 runways closed, and the longest runway is closed right now. So a lot of the corporate jet traffic is non-existent at PDK. So it's been pretty easy lately because they've got a 3,300 foot runway, so that rules out a lot of the jets. Yeah, no, there's some that still come in though. The Honda jets are still coming in, and
really,
yes.
At 33, wow.
Or maybe it's 3,500, but it's pretty short.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Chris T, thank you so much for such a fantastic feedback for us to. It had so many good ingredients in it, so I really appreciate you taking the time to write all that, and I'm super glad to have you, listening and being a part of it. So this is great. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you for that.
I'll hit the follow up from Mr. Ballard. Talking about being a vet, and Nathan Ballard says, I have some vet students and they all want right to the point direct feedback. So the CFI needs to know how to do that. I can imagine that's a lot different of trying to be careful with your feedback and give that what is it called? Something sandwich, like give it in that way, right? Like
the phrase sandwich.
Yeah. So yeah, that's great though.
While I appreciate you trying to land the plane,
your descent for the first 100 feet was outstanding. And when you turned the engines off, that was fantastic. But the points in between could probably use a little bit of work.
That's not what we meant by power off 180.
So that's awesome. Ted, do you want to give a shout out to our new Patreon member?
Yeah. So we've got one new Patreon member this week at the Hershey Bar level. It's Romeo Alpha Sierra. So Romeo Alpha Sierra, thanks for joining us.
Hershey Bar is a good level.
Hit some it's your favorite.
It's my favorite.
Hit some accomplishments that I saw in Discord. VT Pilot took some friends up golfing. Said it was his first for fun flight in 4 years. He talked about showing up with 3 people and clubs in a 172 and maybe not being the 1% at a golf course.
Not being mistaken for the 1%.
Yeah. Midlife Aviator did their night flight with an instructor and talked about how different of an experience that is. And that was great to see. It's always great to see the recaps on people's impressions with that. I definitely felt that. I've done some night stuff recently and wow, it's different. Zach R passed 150 hours. Congrats.
Nice.
And Chris McGee passed their instrument written.
All right.
That's a good one. And I've got to call out, this is less of an accomplishment and more what our Discord is awesome at, which is we have a channel called Public Personal Minimums. So you can post what your minimums are and maybe get called out by people if you aren't keeping them. So it's a public way to do that. And Dr. Mike Alpha Golf shared his flight binder in there, which is about a 8-page PDF with his minimums in it, done in the exact style that I expect from him. It was fantastic. It's very detailed. It's fantastic. Mine are just scrawled on paper if I have.
Can I just say one thing about that?
Yeah.
Not only is it just a remarkably precise document, people had really good feedback to even enhance it further. And that's what I was really enjoying seeing happen in the Discord is that it's even getting better. But the coolest thing I thought about it was, we've talked about this a lot, and I know that One Dull Geek is very good at this, and some others, about ritualizing proficiency. And Mike Alpha Golf has, in his standard operating procedures, proficiency cycles. And I don't know about you guys, but that was the first that I'd heard of that in that way. I don't know if that's something that he gets from the medical world or just from being a intelligent person that is smarter than us or me. But proficiency cycles, I just thought that is a really great way to put it. So it was basically, some sort of a safety thing has to happen every month, whether that be a fast or pilot workshop class or something. Takeoffs and landings, normal short field, soft field, include a power off 180, ACS tolerances every 6 months, maneuvers every 6 months, abnormals and emergencies every 6 months, system knowledge yearly. I think there's a lot of people that are not as knowledgeable about the systems in their plane as maybe they could be or should be, or a lot of that stuff starts to kind of leave you once you just get in the habit of flying your plane all the time or flying the plane that you fly. So anyway, I loved the proficiency cycles piece of that. And there was one for VFR and one for IFR.
Nice.
So good job, Mike Alpha Golf. That is some good stuff and super helpful to a lot of people.
It's good inspiration for people that are looking for ways to think through what their minimums are.
Yeah. I want to hit one more comment from Jason G in the chat. And I've started doing this as well. And I think this is a very clever way of doing this. He says, I scheduled my lessons in the first slot available in the morning. The plane was never late coming back and the field volume was low. So my multi-school, their first slot's 7 a.m. And it's awesome because, I like that early morning flying, and the tower is just dead. It's amazing how much more flying we get in during that 2-hour block when you leave at 7 versus when you leave at 9.
Yeah.
Very
I've
helpful.
enjoyed getting out before my tower opens at sunrise. That's kind of a fun, achievement unlock sort of thing. Pete at Niner talks about the problem with doing that first available slot, which is you can get cancellations from morning fog. So depends on the time of the year where you're located.
That's fair.
It is great though. If you can get out there at like 6 a.m., get it done, go into work. You're in at work at 9 and you had a lesson already and you're distracted, but hey, you're at work on time.
It's nice to do something like flying without the kind of residual fragments and static from the course of your day that you're then trying to put on a shelf somewhere to then change mentalities after dealing with a whole day or half of a day of other activities to go and then fly. I really like the idea of something as important as flying and keeping up with it and learning how to do things, to do it with the freshest part of our midlife brains, which are usually after a couple of cups of coffee and not a lot else. So, yeah.
I have one more comment in the chat that I want to hear because I feel like this applies to me. Chuck in the chat says, we being midlifers, definitely prefer straight information. My communication style is bullet points and curse words.
So
I think
is that
you're talking about
midlifers
veterans,
or veteran?
Or veterans, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's veterans.
Yeah. There's still overlap, which is tell me what you're talking about. Don't just, kind of beat around the bush. I've got things to do. My brain's thick enough. Give me to the point on what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah. I have, by the way, I just want to send a shout out. Thank you to Erica Gilbert and Gilbert Aviation for helping us through me and the others that I'm in the class with for this IFR ground school that we're in, because if it weren't for having a cohort, I would be already off the edge and in an asylum somewhere. But now I get to just make everybody else crazy. So it's great. And also to our friend Lewis, who's been helping us with study sessions and all of that. And that's just a testament to the real value of the community. Everybody's just here helping each other and teaching and everybody that's frustrated with something there's somebody that's pierced that veil and gone beyond the frustration and learned and made something happen and don't see it as that frustrating anymore. And it's just hard when you're a midlifer and you're frustrated, but they will guide you just like we do for, even the private pilots. When we were all going through that, it's real easy to forget how hard that was. And so if you're just starting out or you're just in the thick of private training or any other training, just rely on any community that you can get to help you along. And that's what I'm real grateful for here. So I just wanted to shout them out.
Very cool. I want to remind everybody, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, or if you want to send us a review, if you don't have a Fruit phone and you want to just send us a review, you can email it to us at midlifepodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to hit subscribe on your podcast app. And I want to ask you guys, is there anything else you want to say for the good of the order?
I'm good.
I'm good.
You good?
Thanks.
Ted?
Yeah.
Tonight's words of wisdom, we're back to multi-engine training. Simulated engine failures, the only time your instructor smiles and you don't. Signing off, episode 151, the Midlife Pilot Podcast. Goodbye, everybody.